Hello, welcome to Basically Everything. Here, teens such as ourselves share our opinions and views on subjects that our world is confronting. We view these challenges from different perspectives. Our goal is to inspire teens across the world to evolve with new insights. So, let's get into it.
Hey guys, I'm Pavit.
Hi, I'm Risa. Who'll be your host today?
In this episode, we'll celebrate Pride Month, so we'll cover all sorts of topics from stereotypes to stories about coming out and being accepted, to cross-dressing and more.
Pride Month is a special time for many because it's an occasion where they can truly be who they want to be and express themselves in ways they've always wanted to, but have felt hindered. Personally, Pride Month to me means just being in a community that's so accepting and being loved for who you are.
To me, Pride Month means celebrating yourself and being happy about who you are.
Yeah, me too.
To start off, we want to get into the history of Pride Month and the LGBTQIA plus community as a whole. There's so much that happened that made this life of acceptance and love possible for all genders and identities.
Um, yeah, exactly. And I think a huge role of that is like the history and how so many people have fought, like the Stonewall riots and Marsha P. Johnson and all those people.
Wow, that's really interesting. I couldn't help but notice that what you just said also has a major effect on modern day. For example, the Stonewall riots definitely led to better acceptance of a lot of people, and just being able to be yourself today.
Yeah, totally. On the other hand, even though people have made a ton of progress, society in general has a long way to go.
Yeah, for example, a lot of people seem to realize that gay isn't a choice or being part of the community isn't like something that we chose to do, and like a lot of stereotypes and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I don't know, I feel like people have this set picture of what uh, a person in the LGBTQ community looks like the dyed hair piercings and stuff. And I don't, it's kind of close-minded, just like a little bit close-minded.
Right, and how people that act feminine or like guys that act feminine are considered gay even though they might not be, or if women act more masculine then they're a lesbian, which is not necessarily true.
Right? There's like a huge difference between gender expression and gender identity and all that jazz. Like, I don't know. I feel like people should just be able to live without having to be labeled.
Right. Because then otherwise people have to fall into these very specific categories, and it's really hard to meet standards that people have.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like in a lot more conservative areas, there's like a lot of, like toxic masculinity that also plays effect or that also has an effect on a gay culture. Like I don't know. I feel like for me, if people have a lot of prejudice against men who are feminine, but like women who are masculine are fine, you know?
That's a good point. A lot of people tend to see that if someone likes a certain gender, then it's like creepy or like just weird in general, when really it's just someone loving who they want to love.
Exactly. And I think that kind of affected my road to self-acceptance because like I remember in 6th grade I lived in Tennessee, right? Uh yeah. And I think I there was a lot of internalized homophobia, like a lot, dude. And it took me like way longer than it should have to like finally like, it's okay. It's okay because the environment around me and like having, an immigrant family and living in a very conservative state and conservative town. I think that kind of really pushed, I don't want to say pulled me back, but like made it harder for me, like in general.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. And about how like our ethnicities just end up shaping how we are taught to react to certain situations. Like, my family is also like Indian, and I mean, in India, there's not really that much of like conversations about gay people. It's really just like a taboo topic. And it just kind of makes everything so much harder for me to like talk to my family about things like this, or even just talk to people that are um, also within that ethnicity or just within like the Indian community itself.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know, I feel like for a lot of Asian countries, it's very taboo and very like, like gross, I guess you could say. And I think it's I would say it's come a long way. Like I think it's great that a lot more Asian countries are including, gay characters in their movies and in like in general in society. And I think it's great that we've come a long way, but there's still a bit of prejudice and yeah, hatred honestly for just like the dumbest things.
Yeah, and a lot of people in like the Asian community seem to think that being a part of the community is just like a myth or it's just a fantasy or it's like not real and it's just for movies or for plots. But in reality, it's just people being who they are and just living their best life. And it's hard for people to understand that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think a lot of the times the media, like movies and stuff, kind of romanticize the idea of homosexuality, which is why, first of all, and I think because of that, a lot of people think it's like this fantasy, this picture perfect moment. And it's like really not. There's a lot of struggles I think every person has to go through. And I think movies and songs and shows kind of like take out the bad parts and only leave in like the quote unquote good parts.
Yeah, and it leads to a lot of people being confused about the community because people tend to think that um, being a part of the community is all like sunshine and roses, when in reality it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of being able to communicate with other people and being able to like try to seek acceptance for both yourself and also for other people.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, as we're talking about our acceptance and struggles, it makes me think of the people who sacrificed their lives so we could live ours. For example, Marsha P. Johnson, she was a Black trans woman who, like, did a bunch of stuff for the LGBTQ community.
Didn't Martha lead the Stonewall riots that were caused by the police and their discrimination towards the LGBTQIA plus community?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't exactly caused by the police, it was caused by general prejudice in society during her time. But yeah, she led and helped out a lot during the Stonewall riots.
That's really interesting. Could you explain more about what happened during those riots and what happened on the first day of it?
Okay, so basically there was this bar called Stonewall Bar, right? And then it was a gay bar. And then the police and just people used to literally go in and target that bar and arrest people for not having like a drinking license, but they didn't if I don't know if this makes sense, but they didn't really arrest the people for that reason. They arrested those people because they were cross-dressing or being openly gay or just being themselves because not having an alcohol license was something almost a lot of bartenders didn't have. And police never really cared about the straight bartenders and the bartenders that fit into quote unquote fit into society, right? So it was like a lot of prejudice, and yeah, and so people were like, oh, and they burned them down. So these people were like, okay, we're gonna be super homophobic now and burn down that bar with people still inside. So they burned it down, and then everyone got really mad, and then there were riots. And I know riots kind of seem like harsh, but like they've been like protesting and asking nicely and having trying to pass bills and all that stuff for years, hundreds and hundreds of years. So riots were like the last option.
Gosh, that must have been such a hard time and a hard battle for all of the people within the community, and most importantly, the people who fought that day.
Yeah, yeah. The community itself has so many different types of people that express themselves in so many different ways. It's honestly such a beautiful thing. And in relation to Mars Shaw, I want to bring up the topic of cross-dressing and gender dysphoria. Yay! Um, I just say gender dysphoria is basically when you don't feel like you are the gender you were born in. Like you feel like you're in the wrong body, and you feel like if you're assigned a girl at birth, you don't feel like you're a girl, or if you're assigned a boy at birth, you don't feel like you're a boy.
Yeah, and cross-dressing is where you wear clothes of another gender. And a lot of people like wearing clothes that aren't necessarily associated with their gender because it makes them feel more proud about themselves and more open about their personality and their opinions.
Honestly, in my opinion, clothes don't have a gender. They're clothes, but it's marketed as women's shirts and men's shirts, even though it's freaking shirts. But I guess, yeah. I don't know. I feel like there should be a just clothes section at stores, like just t-shirts and pants and clothes and sort of like women's shirts and men's shirts, or women's dresses or men's freaking pants. I don't, you know.
Right. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, clothing is just meant to be put on your body to cover yourself up. Or I guess not, but
What do
it's
you mean by I guess not, Molly?
like what I mean by that is to be like more expressive about your body and not in like in not in an inappropriate way. I didn't mean
Okay, anyway, moving on. Um, I don't know. I've had a lot of experiences with gender dysphoria, and I think wearing quote unquote like manly clothes kind of helped it a bit. I don't know if that's the same for everyone, but yeah, but I still think there shouldn't be like a men's clothes, And I really think that I think everyone experiences gender dysphoria in some way or the other. And I think a lot of people still struggle with that. And a lot I don't think there should be a reason or a pressure to put a label on your gender or a label on your sexuality or just a label on you in general. And I think people should just be able to be them and not having to have the pressure to be, oh, I need to be bisexual because blah, 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 or I need to be non-binary because blah, blah, blah. Just, I don't know. I think people should just be people.
yeah, labels just end up incentivizing discrimination and just standardizing people or like fitting people into categories, which honestly, I mean, there's like so much gray area between different sexualities and different identities because I mean, whenever you attach a gender to someone, then you just end up saying that you only fit into this category. You can't be in multiple categories or you can't be in no categories at all. And it's just not fair to people that can't associate them with any specific identity or any specific gender.
Right, right. I think it helps a bit though to know who you are. I think it's like it gives you a sense of comfort to know who you are, but there's always like a rush to know who you are right then and there on the spot. So it's kind of really toxic. I think that's in the community and outside the community too, to know what label you want to put on yourself and to know what I don't know who you are right then and there all the time. Like that's impossible, honestly.
Right, it's so much pressure, especially for teenagers like us when we're expected to know who we are and what we're going to do whenever we grow up as well. Just like already, and we're already dealing with so many things like school and other activities that we can't have like just time to figure ourselves out. And then adults are constantly complaining about how we're not grateful for them or we're not doing anything to like help in society when we're just trying to figure out life in general and just figuring out ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think that kind of notion mentality really gave a ton of struggles of being accepted or to be accepted. I don't know. There's always this sense of like, oh, you're too young to know, or, oh, it's just a phase. I don't, it's really stupid when people say that.
Yeah, or whenever people are like, "Are you really sure? Are you sure you're not just like faking it? Or are you sure you're just not like doing it to get attention?" Like, no, I don't think I'd want to like put myself in a situation where I would be constantly discriminated against just for attention. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And there's this argument that trans people only became trans to go into the other gender's bathroom and harass people. Like, dude, calm down. I don't think people went through thousands and thousands of dollars worth of plastic surgery, having their name changed, face discrimination, facing non acceptance from their families, and just being a minority in general to go to the other gender's bathroom. Like, honestly, just reaching, dude, reaching.
Yeah, and it's so unfair to like people that are transgender or aren't transgender because whenever you, let's say you cross dress, for instance, then people are going to automatically assume that you're trying to be the other gender, and then they'll call you out for being like a person that is transgender. But people who are transgender often get mislabeled and told that they aren't that gender and they're just doing it for attention. And like, there really isn't any winning with it. It's like you either are one thing or you're not. And it's just, there's no in between for some people. And it's not okay to assume that people are just one sided or just have one category that they fit into.
Right, right. Like human nature and just expression in general is so fluid and static. I don't know what society's big deal is, just trying to put labels. Oh, you're you like to dress this way, so you must be this gender or you must be this sexuality. Like, no. No.
Yeah, and like people shouldn't be telling you who you are, or you shouldn't be telling other people who they are because you aren't them. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they like. You don't know what they identify as, and you can't tell them that they are a certain way unless they also agree that they are that certain way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can admit though, having people alongside you when you're ready to come out and when you're in the process of trying to figure out who you are, totally, totally make things less painful to deal with. Painful? No, why did they write painful? I mean, less easier to come out and easier to accept yourself.
True. Whenever I was with my friends, whenever I came out the first time, they just seemed like they really didn't care. Like it was kind of just like, it's not really something that defines you as a person. It's kind of just something more about you. It doesn't really change who you are as a person. And that was honestly really helpful for me to be able to have that courage to come out to other people and come out to even my mom whenever I was in sixth grade. So,
You don't come out to me when you're in the sixth grade, but go ahead, pop off, I guess. But I really, I really think it's great because I don't know. I told this one person who I was really really close with. She was the first person I ever told. He's great, and then I think him accepting me really just gave me a sense of comfort because I just remember being so scared, like so unbelievably scared that I'm gonna get like stoned and like discriminated against and bullied and stuff. And I think just like one person just being okay with it really just gave me a sense of comfort and confidence and accepting myself and having confidence or yeah, having confidence in myself.
and the little things that people do to make us feel better often just make me think, like, society isn't all that bad. There's like some good people out there that will support you, and that's great. But I mean, we also all still have our struggles.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I just um dude, you ever just like come out to someone and they switch? Like they pretend like your sexuality is your whole entire personality.
Right? And it's like really annoying because then they keep saying things like "Yas, queen," and I'm just like, that's not like my whole personality, but go off, I guess.
Right, right. Oh my God. Like I'll be wearing something like rolled up jeans because I'm short and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you're so bisexual." Like, shut up. Like, dude, it's honestly it's kind of really homophobic in a way, but it's hilarious to me.
Mhm. Sometimes not everyone has the chance to have a support system that will help them all the way through. And some reasons behind that can be because of our, oh God. So, sometimes not everyone has the chance to have a support system that will help them all the way through. And some reasons behind that can be because of your race, ethnicity, and even religion. In my opinion, I feel like a lot of people use religion to back them up to discriminate against other people, and it's discomforting to know that people are using religion, which was supposed to be like um you were supposed to like love everyone, or you should always accept everyone because everyone's human at the end of the day, and people just end up discriminating either way, and it's just uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, like being part of an immigrant family is just
Yeah, I mean, being a part of like a family that isn't the traditional like white family or the traditional like American family can be and like it can be this it can be really hurtful because people that have like parents from another ethnicity always just end up using their race as an excuse for their homophobic, like them being homophobic or being transphobic. And um, it's honestly just terrible because we can't really express ourselves around our own family. And that's just really disheartening to a lot of people.
yeah, yeah, honestly. Um, there's always this like notion that, oh, I'm from India or oh, I'm from this Asian country. So, and it's not really accepted in Asia. So obviously I have to be homophobic too because I have to have the same values as them. But that's not how it works. You know, you can be the first person in your town to not be homophobic, start a revolution or something, I don't know. Like I don't really get the point of using someone's ethnicity or race or religious um, preference to discriminate and hate in general.
Right. And a lot of ethnicities and races and stuff say that we should just love everyone. And whenever people use their same ethnicity or race or religion to justify their homophobicness, it just seems very contradicting and very, just very like against people. And people also tend to say things that are really homophobic. And then whenever they're confronted by those things, like by saying that, okay, you're being a little homophobic now, sometimes people can just end up saying things like, I'm not homophobic. I'm really not homophobic. But in reality, it just is homophobic, and it's not okay to just say things that are homophobic and pretend like it's okay when in reality we're facing so much already just from society not accepting us, to now other people in our communities and in our families telling us that we aren't what we are and we have to like fit into certain standards just because of our race and our ethnicity.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think homophobia is a very layered thing, It's not just, oh, I don't like people of the LGBTQ community. Like, it's not just that, there's a lot of microaggression and um a lot of like really tiny things that just add up. That's just it just makes you think, that's a bit weird. That's suspicious, like, or like when people say, I'm not homophobic, but like, no, what you're gonna say is homophobic. Or having an aversion to stereotypically feminine guys because it's quote unquote weird, or having an aversion to um having this aversion to like just people being themselves. Like whenever I say they see a gay character in a movie, they'll have like a face. When I see a gay character in school, they'll be like, "Oh my god, I would never be friends with her," or something like that. It's not just, "Oh, I hate gay people." It could be like, it could be like, "I hate the idea of gay people," or "I hate quote unquote just like," you know what I mean?
Yeah, or whenever people are like, well, I don't really hate gay people, I just don't support their lifestyle. What you're basically saying is that you don't approve of people being gay, and it's just, you can't mask it by saying you don't support their lifestyle, because that's basically the same thing. And whenever people use that and say that it's because of their religion that they're doing that, it really isn't. It's in, I mean, in the Bible, it says that one should love everyone. And I mean, if you using your religion to hate someone um, is going to be you loving someone, then I think that's really contradictory. And it's just homophobic. Um there's no in between like not homophobic and homophobic. I mean, you're either homophobic or you're not.
Exactly, exactly. It's not like, oh, I'm only like a little bit against gay people, so it's fine. Like, no, it's not fine. Like a lot of people think just because they're not like, freaking burning people down and stoning people and like, I don't know, freaking bullying people who are gay, that doesn't make them homophobic. It's not true. And it's it's very complicated, but it's really not.
Yeah. People being silent about the whole thing is just basically the same as saying that you don't support it, because at the end of the day, if you're going to be an ally, at least do something to help us.
Yeah. As we get closer to the end of the episode, I would like to end this with the thought of being able to obtain closure with self-acceptance. Um, when I was finally accepted myself, when I finally accepted myself, I found this sense of community and happiness, and honestly, like just self-confidence, having so many people, be okay with me being myself.
Yeah, and some advice I would give to all of you is just be who you are and love that, because at the end of the day, you are your worst enemy. If you don't love yourself, then it's really hard to get anyone else to be there for you.
Exactly.
Today, we talked and learned a lot about Pride Month and its significance. As always, we hope that we brought great insight on this topic and that you, as viewers, can take away something from it.
Events such as the history of our community to the journeys of individuals demonstrate how much effort has been put towards seeking acceptance in both broad and narrow aspects of our society.
Although we have come a long way, there are many LGBT teens and adults that suffer with accepting themselves and being proud of who they are. If you know someone who is part of the community, maybe do something to make their day.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to today's episode of Basically Everything. We hope you enjoyed it and learned more about the LGBTQIA community. Make sure to follow us on our social media accounts so you don't forget to check our website and everything else, all linked in the description.
As always, have a great day. Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye! Yeah, bye, deuces.